Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? Today we're going to be working on And Towards the Dawn some more. Today we're going to do the combat section, well, sort of the combat section, and trying our best to see the best we can do. That's kind of the 411 on there. Been a little bit weird day today. I got up really early for an interview only to check my email and have them cancel the interview without calling me or anything. They just sent me like an email about it. So I was kind of bummed all day about that. So I'm like, cool, let's do it. Tried to power through as much of the day as I could with barely any sleep. So I kind of just took a little nap. That little nap turned into a 2-hour nap, so here I am. But have no fear. Let's crack a cold one with the boys, shall we? Come on. Right there. Yeah, it was just kind of a long day in that regard. And it was like, oh, cool. Yeah, you ever just like get ready to do something and you're like really like ready to go and then it just doesn't happen? That was pretty much my entire day. Meant to stream earlier today, but I just kind of couldn't muster any like the energy, so a little nap I think did some work for me. But let's see what we did last time. Generally speaking, I worked on the Wasteland Survival Guide section the other day, otherwise known as getting all of this shit done. This doesn't seem like a lot, however, pretty much how this section works is fairly simple. If I can zoom up here a little bit. The entire idea is that effectively, one point of the day, a quarter of the day, you're allowed to do an action. If you choose to do actions, everyone can kind of choose to do their own. We did hunting last time. Hunting is pretty simple. Pretty much depending on the area you're in, you're going to be getting different amounts of food. You're going to be getting different amount of baubles. You're going to get different amount of stuff, pretty much. It's not difficult to eat. It's not difficult to feed yourself in this game. That's one of the big things. It's not very difficult to feed yourself. The issue with it is it's wasting time to feed yourself. That may or may not pan out in the end of the day, which is kind of a problem. Especially if you're hunting in places such as, barren hunting zones or hostile hunting zones, which may outright just kill you or actually hit you pretty bad and you're not suddenly having a lot of fun. This does lead into inquiring. Inquiring is effectively if you're in an inhabited area, you can just ask around. You can just talk to people. This doesn't seem very useful. Be like, well, no shit, I can just talk to people. Yeah, the idea behind it's a little bit more along the lines of this is your chance to really start talking with other human beings or other people with what their situation is. If you ever need to spend time to do this, you're trying to find people, you're trying to deal with people. We need to find a doctor. You're going to have to spend an inquiring action on it. We need to find a mechanic. You're going to find an inquiring action on it. Hey, we need to find a local guide to figure out where we're going. Got to spend an inquiring action. Base it a little bit off of circle rolls from Burning Wheel, because circles is the best Burning Wheel mechanic ever. Then we have mechanics and mending. Mechanics and mending technically use the same... They technically use the same mechanic. I say technically because it's a little bit more complicated than that. But the entire idea is... You're going to be making either a tinkering or a medicine check. And every success you score, you're going to be able to restore something. So, for example, in a vehicle here. This. There. For example, your vehicle. If you have the correct tools, correct parts, correct, everything you need, what's going to happen is that you're going to be rolling pretty easily and you can restore your car's frame. But you may only be restoring 5 or 6 frame, which if you're to the point where you need to actually start fixing it in the road, there's usually something wrong with it. Mending is the same way. The big thing there is that if you score more than 3 successes, you, instead of doing a recovery roll, instead of repairing somebody's stability, you're trying to remove one of their scars, which, generally speaking, isn't useful on a vampire. Performing medicine on a vampire is not actually very useful. Performing, medicine on a human, though, is very useful because humans are going to get things differently. I also kind of make that as like, if you try to extract blood, you could take an entire day you take the entire time setting up the apparatus and dripping the Ricker into a sealed bag. You get 1 unit of blood. Safely done once a month. Any more, they'll take 1d pain check due to the fatigue and dizziness. Generally speaking, you can't extract blood super actively. It's hard. Very difficult. And anytime you can, it's stressful at the best. I've not put in the mechanics. This is welcome to the wonderful world of so many fucking spot mechanics. I do plan on doing it on this next section, though. That's cheating, Anna. No, it's not. Nothing is cheating. The relaxing is kind of like resting, but not quite resting. This is I have nothing to do, so you just make a recovery check. You just are going to get something out of it, even if you choose to do nothing. Generally, that's more useful for one person needs to go hunting or something. And if one person needs to go hunting, and no one else really can or really needs to, they're just going to relax. They're going to get their recovery, get a little bit of stability back. They're going to be fine, especially if you're hauling ass. It is very beneficial to, at some points with relaxing, after a really rough drive, just chilling the fuck out for an hour, kind of thing. Chilling the fuck out for a quarter of the day. Everyone gets a little bit of recovery back, not a lot, just enough to get by, but kind of rolling from there. Scavenging is a little bit odd because most of the time when you look at like scavenging for these games, what occurs is like, oh, here's the scavenging chart, and the scavenging chart is just like random shit they find. So what I ended up doing is going off the beaten path. Drifter attempts to pick through the trash of the world and find something decent that can be used. The big thing is it has to be at a location. It has to be at a place such as a burnt out compound, a particular landmark. You can't just do it in the dust bowl effectively. You've got to be at a place. You're going to make an extended judgment with the complexity based on how large and obtuse the location is. They will have exactly 6 attempts to pick through the area for valuables. For every 3, 5, 7, or 10 successes scored, they'll find an additional 1d5 baubles. The big idea here is, as you kind of see, this is my example, it's more based on the idea of you're just spending as much time as you want trying to pick through this place kind of as quickly as possible. And if you do really well, you can pick out a bunch of just random shit, because generally speaking, I didn't want to get into like the nitty gritty of like, oh, you found this place, you kind of know what it is already, you want to scavenge in it. This is you finding random shit that you can pawn off. This isn't really good stuff. This is just stuff. Which it's a secret 2022. Why not? What are we doing? What is this, an interactive novel? No, this is a tabletop role-playing game I'm writing, I should say. And I'm going over what I did off camera. The big thing is, when it came to scavenging anyway, what I wanted to do is make scavenging there, but I didn't want to like overwhelm, like, here's my D1000 chart to find out all the shit you need there. No. Generally speaking, it's just going to be baubles. It's just sellable stuffs. What do we find at the burnt out temple complex? I don't know. You tell me. Hey, GM, what did we find at the landmark? I don't know. Tell me. It's a little bit arbitrary how it's done, but it's mostly based on the idea of like, how much stuff do you think is going to be in there and how big it is. If you're in a giant fucking location, a giant warehouse, you're going to find stuff pretty consistently. The problem is it's going to be like complexity 70, where you will never be able to get through every single thing. And because we can't get through every single thing, you're just trying to find what you can. Ironically enough, this was based off of Kenshi more than anything. A lot of this section was actually based off Kenshi, with the idea of you burst into a place, you're looting what you can find. You can spend a lot of time picking up every single thing you want to find. You're looking around, looking through every drawer, looking through everything. But at the end of the day, you're not really looking for that kind of stuff. It's a fun thing. Like, oh, hey, there's a shit ton of sake here. Let's pick up all the sake so we can pawn it off at the local area. Cool. Neato burrito. We're doing it. We are, as they say in the hood, gaming. The scavenging, if I would say anything, scavenging kind of turned out a little bit lackluster. But it's one of those things, like, either you go really hyper detailed or you kind of broaden it out because this isn't the focus of the game. The focus of the game is why we're scavenging, which brings us to scouting. Scouting is odd. Pretty much the idea is anytime you choose to scout, the narrator, the GM effectively, should anyway, hand you an unmarked location. They say, hey, this is what you see. You can put it in any tile adjacent to you. Any tile you want, any adjacent tile, you can place that in there. And when you place that unmarked location, that is an area that you can visit. It's a place that is nearby enough, allowing you to kind of put it down. You have to look for it a little bit, hence why scouting is efficient, but also not very efficient. But it's like, oh, hey, we scout once, then we move over, and then we're allowed to do a little bit more. We're allowed to get some stuff, allowing you to kind of hopscotch between locations with scouting. Because scouting is supposed to be unmarked locations are unremarkable, they're hidden, they're little weird things that the players have a little bit more authority in placing down. What I want to occur, this is my goal anyway, what do I want to occur is the players are moving through the area pretty actively, allowing and being able to, the players are moving through the map, moving through their zone. And when they're moving through that zone, by the time you hit the crossroads, by the time you hit that ending goal, I want everyone to look back and say, oh, hey, this was a cool little zone we were in. This is what we found. This is what we did. This is kind of there. And being able to point out sections on this little map that they've made together of where they were. Hey, yeah, we found this control tower. Hey, we found this. Hey, we found this. Hey, we found this cult compound, and we traded with them a little bit, but they were kind of weird. Oh, hey, we found this old military base. The GM already put it there, but it was like, oh, here's some cool, weird, wacky shit. Cool. That's kind of the idea when it comes to scouting. Is it the best in the world? Depends on your definitions. This does lead to tinkering. This was based off of what Lubu said last time, and it made a lot of sense. What I ended up doing was converting a vast majority of this system into you have you are trying to, how do I even word this? Effectively, what you do is you convert baubles into stuff. We need a crowbar. That's going to be a small item. You're gonna roll your dice, and if you score one success, you're going to be able to get a single crowbar for 2 baubles. it's not terribly efficient to do this outside of just buying it. That's one of the funny things. It's like, yeah, just buy it. Go to town, sell off all your baubles, and you're going to be able to get a lot more shit out of it than not doing this. Yeah, it's going to go a lot farther, but if you're, again, in the middle of the fucking swamp and you desperately need something, having a crowbar or having that little object is a hell of a lot more valuable than not having it. That's kind of the idea behind tinkering. Which did lead into Encounters, Gambles, and Burns. These were based off a traveling system I've already written before. This used to be the main way of doing things. Seriously though, since everyone likes vodka, why not just make vodka the universal currency instead of having 3 different ones? Because I like making people miserable. That's the secret, McDrewsalt. I enjoy making people miserable. And I think one of the big things when it comes to like survival games, especially when it's kind of like in this situation, where you have to end up, getting your resources a little bit and planning ahead. Hey, we have 30 ration cards. Like we're pretty good on ration cards. We have no silver clinks though. We have absolutely no money for Zara's territory. And every time we roll into a Zara's town, they want fucking money. We can't pay them. We have to barter a lot more than we really should. But these guys are only paying us in pretty much trade. They don't have a currency. They just want, it's a bartering effectively. And it's kind of the idea of like, okay, maybe we want to trade in more Union-favored areas, because if we trade in more Union-favored areas, we actually have currency. We have a method of exchange. And I want that to feel a little bit chaotic to some people, where you have the kind of inconsistent conversion rates, you have money that's useless in certain places, you have money that's overvalued in other places. I mean, that's the kind of the way that we're based it off another thing. Welcome to Fallout New Vegas, in fact. Because in Fallout New Vegas, there are technically 3 currencies. You have the NCR dollar, you have the bottle caps, and you have the Legion Denari. The thing is, NCR money is useless, except if you're playing with the NCR, because they'll buy it off you very easily. They have a 1-to-1 exchange rate with NCR dollars, because the NCR dollar is a fiat currency. It's not backed by anything. That's the funny part. Legion money, however, is backed by something. It's gold. Yes, the Legion have the largest amount of gold in the wasteland. They have an actual economy. New Vegas. That's the funny part. Bottle caps are accepted by everybody, but bottle caps don't really have a good exchange rate anymore. You kind of see that, as you kind of progress through New Vegas, it's not really valuable to have a lot of caps, because the people who have a lot of bottle caps are the people who already own everything. Especially if you clear out all the casinos. That's kind of one of the more of the fascinating parts of one of the things I actually like about New Vegas quite a bit is that, like, yes, technically you look at there is kind of a weird economy situation going on, and that's like one of the reasons why a lot of the people are actually very, very resistant to the NCR. Because I always, every now and again, someone asks me like, why don't they like the NCR? And it's like Bitter Springs. One of the bigger reasons is that the NCR has no money. It has imaginary money that isn't real, because fiat currency isn't real, everybody. Yeah, if you want finance autism, I think it was Void Haunters. Void Haunters has like an insane like conversion rate between every single one of their currencies because of all the factions hating one another. I love currency autism. I find it very funny. If I can't do forex trading, what's the fucking point? Like that's my motto. Oh. Yeah, I guess we've got our I guess we've got our 2 cases for next month. They're going to be a little bit odd, but that's half the fun. Druidium. Cryptocurrency fantasy RPG. Let's see. We had Bingus coin. We had Bingus coin in let's see, there was a Bingus coin in Catman Thule. There was Dicks and Apes in Pigs, which I need to update Pigs one day. Luckily I can update Pigs now. Let's go mega autism. Honestly, making just a gigantic fucking meme game that's just the cryptosphere jokes, it would be great. Mostly because I'm me, and I find all that stuff very fascinating, and mostly because my cousin really got into crypto, so I had to learn a lot to make fun of him. I've been following some of the FTX stuff. I've been following what was the newest one that collapsed recently? Celsius. Yeah, it's been nuts. Yeah, shit's whack. Shit is, as I say, whack in the hood. So, he can Dogecoin shit early? Nah, he was... To give you the luck of my beautiful cousin, my lovely man, he invested in Bitcoin real early. But he stored a shit ton of money in Luna for a while. Then it was USDC. Then there was one of the other stable coins. Like when Luna collapsed, he got hit pretty hard. When not Doge, he wasn't a Doge guy. It was, when Luna collapsed, he got hit pretty hard. When FTX collapsed, he got hit real hard. Hello, Draco. But getting back on track, everyone, when we talk about shit coins, we were making a meme game because I was talking about forex trading in these games. Talking about the economies of currency and how in this particular game there's quite a few different currencies because of different power blocks. Yes, getting back on track. Encounters, Gambles, and Burns. This was originally from Project Inchling, actually, which is technically my first hex crawl, but it's not really a hex crawl. It gets a little bit weird in that regard. One of the bigger ideas is that every single day, one part of the day cycle, you're gonna roll a d10. The GM narrator has complete control of when they want to do this. It's just you and them, because fuck you. If it's during the day, if it's during the daylight hours, they're gonna be rolling. It's going to be odd, I believe. Let me see. If it's during the day, then even numbers. If it's during the night, then odd numbers. Effectively, dawn and midday versus dusk and midnight. So again, it's kind of skewed in that regard. You're gonna roll a d10 and you'll say, "Oh, well, congratulations! You've rolled an encounter at night. It's night. I've chosen to give you an encounter. You roll an encounter. Something happens. Generally speaking, these are supposed to be, these are supposed to be a little bit more precarious, if that makes sense. They're not really supposed to be big. No, I haven't seen the non-human. I saw the non-human race thing and I chose to ignore it. It's stupid. But generally speaking, these are things like the car's got something in the exhaust pipe. There is somebody asking for a toll, for example. The idea behind, actually I should say, that's actually a good note. Generally speaking, once you kind of encounter this situation, it's jumps on it. This is your problem. This is something that you kind of have to react to a little bit quickly. And usually there's going to be a few ways to approach it, such as, like, hey, you're traveling along the road and suddenly there's this giant fucking, block. You can't really, it's either you go all the way around where it's like you waste time effectively. It's like, okay, we can't go down this patch of road anymore. We have to stop, go all the way around, and it just takes time. Or you brute force it, and you might take 1 to 3, pain check dice. So it's like, okay, it's difficulty 3. Fuck it, let's just move everything out of the way. It takes us a long ass time, but I take 10 stability damage and am not feeling too hot. You take 10 stability damage. See, it's always funny. Anytime I'm like doing examples, I roll really well. So it's like, yeah, it's taxing. It's kind of a tax on your resources a little bit, but it's also like, hey, you have a thing. Being like, if you have something like, oh, we have a bunch of explosives, cool. Why don't we just plant an explosive on the encounter? Like, why don't we just plant one of our explosives on here, detonate it, and go through? Cool, you solved the encounter. You just had to burn a little bit of resources. And one of the big things is you can always zoom in on some of these, like some of them are going to be pretty obvious. You can zoom in on, others not so obvious. It's like, if you zoom in on it, you play it out. You might not gamble as much. You might only have to spend a little bit. You can haggle a little bit more. So that's kind of the idea. Quid pro quo is usually the idea of you need to give something to do something. Someone might ask for a toll. You might run into a checkpoint. And if you run into a checkpoint, you have to go there, and they're going to say, cool, we want time. We're going to take you it's going to take us an hour. We're going to run all your papers. We're going to make sure you're okay. And you're effectively increasing the looming dread. That's kind of the issue. You're increasing the looming dread. Or you can try to pay them off with 20 ration cards and say, okay, let us through. And you're like, okay, go through. It's like, fuck. That's kind of the idea behind these different approaches. It's like, how do we choose to do a thing? And how do we do this? Guy makes a big thread explaining how monsters are the dark reflections of humanity's worst qualities. Some dude skims and calls him racist because humans are white-coded, demi-humans are minority-coded. Expands it to an encompass of shit ton of people and quote retweets, and everything becomes very funny. Yeah, that's the entire initial bit you could argue made sense, but then it's how do I want to word this? It's the most pretentious way of looking at something, and it was worded in the most pretentious way possible. You could say, oh, this is always the big thing with life, is that you can really look at things through like the most like analytical, like, oh, I want to see things perfectly because I'm very smart. Let me post on my post on my Reddit form, I am very smart. It's like, oh, like, yeah, cool, monsters are evil. Neat. Yeah, it's like, wow, that's neat. You can talk about that. Or it could just be a goblin. Well, goblins have to have, no, it's just a goblin. It's a low tier enemy. They aren't very big. They aren't very scary. Usually people can dab on goblins pretty easily. So that's, yeah, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Not everything needs to be Chenkov's gun. Not everything needs to be Occam's razor. Not everything needs to be fancy. Sometimes we just need to murder goblins in a cave. And it's not like you can't have, dark reflections of things. That's fine. I mean, that could bring a lot about things. Dark, I believe Dragon Age did a very good job of this. I think Dragon Age did a really good job of this with the Darkspawn. Because the Darkspawn, you go through the entire game with the Darkspawn are these amoral creatures of the void that are just evil. But the more you learn about it, the more you kind of deal with them, the more you kind of realize, like, these things are just animals, effectively. They are driven by a higher force. And is it really, like, can you say, like, are they, like, actively evil, or are they just a force of nature? You know, you kill the Arc, when you kill the Archdemon, it's like, yeah, they're all dead, but oh no, Warden's gotta die. But then you start seeing, like, the mutations and stuff like that. It's more of like a broader thing. It's like, oh, this is kind of sad in its own right. I never liked bugbears. I never liked bugbears. I always thought they sounded stupid. I always thought they were, like, worded stupid. I never liked them. See, my thing is, my goblins have always been, anytime I write with goblins, I usually have the same type of goblins show up. Because the entire concept with my goblins are pretty simple. You have basic goblins. Goblins, if you get enough goblins together, one of the goblins is going to become a hobgoblin. That hobgoblin is effectively the biggest and smarterest of them. He's going to attract more goblins. Soon, those goblins start changing. Soon, there are orcs now. Orcs are just really big, stupid goblins. They follow the hob everywhere. Then you start going to get trolls. That's where you're going to start seeing goblin wizards and shit. The bigger the hob's horde, the bigger, the bigger things, get. But goblins will also try to follow anything, because they like to form hierarchies. So if a hobgoblin's killed, if the hobgoblin is killed by a troll or by an ogre or something, then they're gonna start following the ogre around, because they just want to form natural hierarchies. That's all they are. And that's the joke between them, is that you would never really get rid of goblins, because they're fucking everywhere. I also kind of make them Schrodinger's reproduction at that point, where as long as you don't see them, goblins are probably there. Like, that's kind of the thing. You will always have a goblin. Goblins are always there, and they are ready to gobble something. Delicious. Bear. Okay, fear and loathing in the ash. Okay, today's gonna be a little bit wonky also. I don't know why, like, everything's been shifted over slightly to the right. Slightly to the left, I mean. I have no idea why this is, like... I don't know why it's like this. It's slightly off-center. I'm assuming there's something I can trigger to make it better, or it's finally learned that I put myself in the corner. Who knows? We live in a society. But, go down here. Specifically to piss me off. Yes, that is very likely. But one of the big things about Fear and Loathing in the Ash is I need to go over how people stress the fuck out effectively. What are the common fears? What does fighting look like? That's kind of going to be the big thing about today, is like, we need to do fights. And I think hopefully this is going to tie everything together. The one thing that I'm a little bit worried about, a little bit perplexed about, is that if I want to put it here, or do I want to put it earlier? Because that's kind of the big thing. Like, do I want to put this section even before the traveling mechanics? Like, put it all the way up here, just because of, like, how important it is? Because this is effectively, at this point, we're at 30 pages of... This is 30 pages of almost just character creation. Just because it sounds like there's a lot, but there is a lot of just character creation stuff. Like, these are how stability and scars work. They're important for you and your character information, and, like, by the time you hit it, by the time you reach here, you already pretty much know how to play the game. This is a vast majority of like the traveling mechanics, which then lead here. It's a little messy. So how humans diverge from bloodsuckers. What do you mean by that? Vampires are vampires, humans are humans. What happened? The plague, quote unquote. There was a plague. Nobody really know what happened. Vampires emerged from the plague. That, according to the Union, they're the ones who started the nuclear apocalypse. You know, they're the one. Vampires started the Flash War, but no one really knows why. It's been so fucking long. It's the big thing when it, like in this section, I'm gonna have to be talking about like, I mean, what you get as a human. You get 2 skill points. You get 2 skill points and a lot less things freak you the fuck out, if that makes sense. Because how I want it to go is that this is also gonna be kind of what we're gonna be talking about here, which is it's not necessarily what you get, it's what you don't have to worry about. Notably, humans just need 1 piece of food every day. That's all they need. They don't need anything else. Also, did the commissioner ask for human plus vampires, or was that like an addition? Yeah. The big idea is that humans just really need 1 piece of food a day, and that's that. That's life. That's pretty much all you need to worry about with them. It's the thing with vampires, they need blood consistently, which is expensive. It's a little bit more expensive than everything else, which is going to be kind of like a drain on resources a little bit. But it's also, but they also get stressed out by more things. But they can recover things a lot faster. That's kind of the back end. That's kind of the consistent back and forth issue with them. Is humans don't have superpowers. They just get a little bit of skill points. But literally doing, like, being able to go out in the sun or go out in the night are all possible for them. They are able to walk in the sun. The vampires can. They're just going to be losing their shit the longer they do it. Okay. Let's get to it. Ashwalkers are a Ashwalkers are built different. They actually no. How do I want to do it? How do I want to word this? Actually, traveling the ash is taxing on the body and taxing on the body and mind. Vast stretches of land with nothing, with little more than isolated pockets of stretches of land with a little more than isolated pockets of mixed with savagery, with the savagery. Let savagery societies fail from that. It's enough to break anyone long enough. Though to many, they deal with the horrors with family, friends. They deal with the horrors with family, friends, safety, and even the monotonous daily grind that that life brings. As drifters, they cannot afford many things. They cannot afford many things. Just their vehicle. That's their vehicle. That's their vehicle. And the burning will to escape the looming dread. The looming dread. The Ashlands do not kill. They break. They break, devour. Go. How did I end up sorting this? Okay, we're gonna do the common fears. No. Gunshot serenade, dread. This is what the common fears. This is probably gonna be the longest section. The common fears. Vampire, human and vampire are not so separate. Not as separate as the Union or Tsarist or Tsardom would like to believe. There are fears which permeate everyday life. Things that will send a person to the brink of madness. Should they fight against it. Lose. The common fears are moments in are how do I want to work? Are moments in the story. The common fears are moments in the story that actively will cause pain checks to directly target the drifter stability. It will cause pain checks to directly target the drifter stability. Most of the time, most of these are universal fear. Most of these are universal fears, applicable to both vampire and human and vampire. And vampire struggling to live in the Ashlands. However, some of these fears are deeper set in the psyche of man psyche of worm or flea. They're deeper set in the psyche of worm or flea. Primal fears. Things that reflect the drifters' own inhumanity, or their distinctly human features. You cannot, unlike anchors, the common fears The common fears are always, quote, active, able to affect the drifters, consistently. Anchors can benefit or harm the drift. Anchors can benefit or harm the drifter, allowing them to recover just as much as break them, as cover just as much as pain them. Heal just as much as hurt. The fears do not discriminate, and they will fears do not discriminate, and they will not save you. Actually, the fears do not discriminate, and they are not present. And let's see, and they are not present. The fears do not discriminate, and they are there to help you. They are there to help the drifter, and by helping them avoid whatever is in front of them. So it's kind of the idea, like, the common fears are like the little things that you need to consider constantly that you just don't want to see, you don't want to have happen. It's, I am starving. Okay, cool. You've run out of something. You're gonna take a little bit of pain. Why? Because you don't have something. You don't have resources. You don't have something you need to survive. It's a common fear. It's okay, so yes. The new 40K RPG is apparently based off of I would say it looks interesting. Apparently it's mostly based off Warhammer Fantasy 4th edition, which I still have never read, but I won't be reading anytime soon either, because the people want me to do a BRP case into the Curious Case of Ura 2, so it's going to be interesting going. Next month is going to be kind of a weird set of cases. Read it, you motherfucker. I know. I should read it. I really should, but I just haven't really done anything Warhammer. Who won the whale game vote? That would be Painkiller Jane. Yes, Caffeine wanted a BRP case, and Top Whale voted for the Curious Case of Ura. Child Safety Cap loses again. Sorry, everybody. And it was funny because it was like people who really wanted it just didn't make a game for it. Like, oh, Scribble. Silly Scribble. Well, let's see. One day you will get to use your pony, Sona. No, God, I hope not. Oh, Jesus. What do I want to do? How do I want to set this section up properly? I mean, we can do a table. You know, yeah, let's do table. I like tables. Tables make my life easy. Ooh, I love tables, you love tables, we all love tables, right, kids? We all love them. This. So, which we're going to do the common we're going to do the common fears, which we do. What we can do, just to make this a little stand out a little bit differently, we're going to do that. We're going to do the situation, we're going to do the description, we're going to then do re-add this so I can actually see what the fuck I'm doing. Let's see. So the situation's pretty standard. We're going to do pain check. We're going to do the pain check. Something like this. First, and then we do script. So this would be what things would be, and this would just be. It's gonna be things like starvation, pain check. It's gonna be pain check, 2D. It's gonna be actually if I double check starvation. Did I already talk about starvation? Yes, I know I do. I do tick starvation. Doing a full cycle without eating will lead to a tick of starvation. Bare necessity. Yeah. It's going to be 1D severity. 1D is severity. 1D severity. The drifter is hungry. And then their stomach gnawing at their mind. So it's starvation. We're going to do deprivation, which is going to be just flat 2D. Starvation's a lot more common. Deprivation, which is going to be the drifters have run out of a resource. The drifters have run out of a resource. Fuel, ammo, or food stuff. They need to find more. So let's see, starvation, deprivation, injury. This is going to be unexpected injury. XD equal to scar rating. The drifter has something has happened to the drift. Something has happened, and a sting of pain is all the drifter can think about. All the drifter can think about. It's agonizing. Kind of the idea here is like you're in a random encounter and you take an injury or something. That's the price you pay. You fail like a check to like, oh well, we're trying to go through a minefield or something and we fuck up our check or something. It's like, oh, you kind of step on a mine a little bit. It doesn't automatically go off. But yeah, you dive out of the way and you're fucked up. You get a little bit mangled. You take a 4-tier scar. You're going to then you take a rank 4 scar. You're already pretty fucked up, and then you're gonna roll 4, and then suddenly, oh hey, I've just taken 10 stability damage, which make further aggravate the scar in some respects. So it's kind of the. If it's a little unexpected, now the idea of unexpected injury is not like you're in combat. That's also very bad. XD. Actually. Witnessing a... Mm-hmm. 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 There we go. Mm-hmm. Destroyed anchor variable in anchor of the drifter has become compromised. Let's see. An anchor of the drifter has become compromised or forcefully removed. Mm. Mm. You're troubled. Hey, you've built a bond with somebody. You have this really big bond and you like this person and they like you. You've been supporting each other a long way away. They get shot in the fucking skull. They are dead. Your pal is DEA dead. Yeah, that's gonna fuck you up a little bit. Like that's kind of the idea. Like you're a little bit more actually uh, let's see. When a companion receives a scar, the drifter, actually, I should say, is the drifter. Drifters are a tight knit group. They all suffer. When one suffers, the rest suffer. When one suffers, the rest suffer. This triggers when a drifter takes their first scar. So it's kind of along the idea of like, yeah, you're a little bit worried because somebody you know is taken, someone you know is hurt. Owie zowie. Bodily injury is painful. Who do exactly like it's ow, I am in pain. Please God, make it end. And you don't like that. I kind of say it's like unexpected injury, where it's something a little bit more haphazard. It's not you're in a gunfight, you've been shot. No, you kind of are expecting to get hurt in a gunfight. You're not doing too hot in that regard. That's like you're walking through a field being like, oh, what a beautiful day to hunt, and you step in a bear trap and you hear the crunch of your bones. It's like, oh, this is horrifying. I am in extreme pain. Oh no. Oh no. Someone said help. What else am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. Wait. Did they change how the fucking table properties are? Oh, yeah, they changed how this looks like. That's kind of neat. Kind of weird, but all right. I'm in. Let's see. So, I wouldn't say even companion troubles. Hmm. Mm. Mm. Let's see. I'm gonna put a footnote because God loves footnotes. And a half war where humanity did what we do best. We developed new technologies. We pushed the limits. We looked to the sky and we said, we can fix it. And then immediately said, after all those things, and then how do we use it to kill something? That's kind of the big thing with the Union, is the Union's the most technologically advanced faction in the Ashlands. Easy. Because they were there for about a century building new weapons, building new technology for the sole purpose of trying to kill vampires. So you can get some of the more like sci-fi things. I would say like most things are going to be like retro sci-fi, if that makes sense. And like retro science fiction. But I wonder if I can bring up the little fucking Corporal knows, Shepherd knows what's going on here. Wonder if I can find the Vampire in the Garden little fucking mechs. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't show up. They show up out of fucking nowhere. I don't know what you would even call them, like little mechs. Let me see. Yeah, it's the thing that this fucking dude pilots around. They literally throw in at one point, like, they have like little I would call them almost Tachikoma tier, but they have these like little mechs out of nowhere. I love them. They're like little goofy little mech things. I think they look insane. I can't even. They don't even, because they're so unimportant. Like, it's barely a plot point. It is barely a plot point that they exist. But it's like, yeah, here's our mechs. Ah, God. What? Roboto, you know, robots. Maybe we can. Yeah, I can't find a good screen of them, a good screenshot. But yeah, they have this like they have these like little goofy little mechs. Corporal knows what I'm talking about. They're so goofy looking, but yeah, it's like, oh well, here's our brand new piece of technology we're using to kill the vampires, and I'm like, yeah, this sounds about right. the little like. The little tiny it's kind of hard to, it's because I can guarantee you yeah, because there's the fucking car, and then they have the little, they barely matter. That's the thing. That's the amusing thing. Gonna drive me insane till I find it. I don't have Netflix anymore, so I can't just bring up Netflix. I would literally just bring up Netflix real fast and go to the scene where they are. But it's God, I can't find it. No, it's not, I'm not gonna be able to find it anymore. Shame. To give you an idea, they gave you like these little. There was like these little, like, almost like, you'd almost call them like power, like what they reminded me of was they reminded me of these. That's kind of the best way. They're like little tiny things. They're these little tiny little war machines. They have fucking like miniguns strapped to them and like a missile. Like, they're so goofy looking. And the plot point is, oh, this is humanity's new weapon against the vampires. They serve no purpose. I think they're just there to look cool. I think it's one of those things that just weren't developed at all. Oh my god, a bloodsucker, I'm going insane. Yeah, they're not mech. My mom used it, by the way, McDrew, so thank you very much. Like, yeah, honestly, a video would maybe... Like, yeah, okay, I will actually bring up the fucking video. I'm gonna get claimed for this, doesn't matter. I need, yeah, it's these little fucking things. They're just these goofy little fucking mech. I don't know what you would call them. I guess you would call them mechs? Like, yeah, they're just these goofy little robots. Or mechs. I don't really know what you would call them. Power armor? Would you call it power armor? This is the way they are. They're not like, to me, they're not like full power armor, because it's like, they remind me of Votoms as well. They come out of like nowhere. And I was thinking, like, because I was thinking, oh, hey, like, is this going to be like are they going to go for like a message of, oh, we really do live in an industrial society. I was waiting for like the industrial society thing to pop up. No, they just show up, they shoot things, and then they leave. It's a plot point of like, oh, Momo, your mom's a bitch. So we're here to deal with vampires, and we're here to report back. Jeez, Momo, your mom's a bitch. And everyone's like, yeah. Just deal with it. Just fucking deal with it. They're not even useful. That's the worst part. You saw, even in that little clip, you saw a fucking vampire swoop in and stab. There's no front protection. You're just sitting there. You just have two giant fucking mini guns. Like little autocannons still, but Jesus. Like, put a screen there, man. We've developed tanks before. Put a metal sheet there. Put a little viewport. Boom. Done. You don't gotta worry about a vampire dive bombing your ass. Yeah, it's one of those parts of that show which just... And again, Shepard, you understand this completely. It's one of those moments of that show where they introduce something and they just don't talk about it anymore. It's like, yeah, here it is, because that entire bit of why they're there are introduced for one reason right at the beginning, and it's like, geez, Momo, your mom's a bitch. That is the literal reason. Wow, your mom's a bitch, and no one likes her, so we're trying to use new technology, so we've invented the power armor. I'm like, cool. However, this feels underwhelming. Yeah, they go nowhere with it. It's completely unnecessary. It looks cool, completely unnecessary. But yeah, to kind of give you the idea of like what the Union tech should feel like at points is shit like that. Yeah, you're gonna go through a town one time and they're gonna be dirt farmers, but there's gonna be like one guy with a repurposed power armor he uses for fucking like farming. And when you question him, hey, why do you have repurposed fucking power armor for farming? And he's gonna look at you being like, what do you mean? I bought this thing from a guy like 20 years ago who used it for farming, and then they used it for farming before that. Farming skulls, but it's very simple stuff in that regard. Everything in the Union has effectively been built for the war effort at one point, and the current issue right now is there's no war to build for. So everything's kind of stalled out. So we're technically in the third bureau where everyone it's the toads, effectively. They aren't doing anything. They sit on their lily pad and wait for a fly to come by. That's why it's like, yeah, everybody's waiting for the next war because both sides want it really badly. The Tsarists, on the other hand, don't have technology. They suck. Everybody hates the Tsarists. The one advantage the Tsarists have is, let me reiterate this, they are fucking vampires. Turns out when you can just like clap your hands and have like a bunch of people fly you somewhere, that's pretty useful. Hey everybody, I'm a royal vampire. Cool. Let me just call upon my friends to get me to wherever I want to go. So horrifying events, witness paranatural events. Paranatural events would be Ghost Train in Metro. That would be that. That would be the big thing there. Yeah, there we go. First time they use their blood dye. First time they say, you know what? We're not doing too hot. Let's bring out the D20 in our D10 game. Mwahahaha. Well, actually, I'll put an image right there that we're going to do the human fears. Mm. Um. Actually, and we do that, and then we're going to do mm, 1D. So forceful feeding. Mm.
Новая песня на старый мотив, но в ней трудно найти знакомые ноты. Я уже слышу речитатив, в котором каждое слово
Mm.
вызывает рвоту. Руки на горло, ноги на гриф. Что еще нужно? Струны петляя, рваные фразы, кровь, крик. Ты спросишь, что дальше, я отвечу.
Mm.
Наливай, расплескай через край душу. Вырви глаз у моей одинокой луны. Не плачь, ночь, зима,
There we
звезды.
go. On an anchor of 3 or more with the person. What's this? So the idea there would be, if you know the person well enough, you know, hey, they're fine. They're a fine person. And you're kind of outweighing who they are with, you know, what you're actually seeing. But if you just see a vampire go complete fucking nuts and jump halfway across, jump a building they have no right of making, then, like, yeah, you're gonna be a little bit freaked out. Like, you are a human and you are now in extreme danger. You are not having a good time. But yeah, there we go. So this is you just getting, someone grabs you and starts eating. This one is someone you're like, okay, let's yeah, we're gonna do this. Like, you're gonna get something and I'm gonna get something, but it's not gonna be pleasant for anybody involved. But now we're gonna do the vampire fears. Mm. Mm. Individual. The feeds on an individual without their permission. Without their permission. Actually, the drifter in the heat of combat leaps on a foe, and digs in. Mm. It's savage and inhuman. uh, little more than a fair. They're a little more. They are a little more than a feral. Hmm. 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 In desperation or a deal struck, the vampire may. The drifter slakes their thirst upon one of their allies. The while helpful, the feeling of one of their human companions. While helpful, the feeling of power over them. Feeling of power over them is intoxicating. Let's see. Even being in the sunlight is tiring and mentally draining for a vampire. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Mm. Yeah, it's kind of like more along the idea that it's supposed to be a little bit larger in that regard. It's like, yeah, this is a limb is exposed effectively. It's not like just a little thing. It's like, yeah, this is like it, yeah, this is agonizing. Please make it end. Mm. Mm. Okay. Mm. Senses. Mm. Nosferatu lineage. The vampire is. Let's see. The vampire can easily pick up small noises when present small noises or faint sense or faint. Mm, when deafening sounds, loud noises. When deafening sounds. Uh, agonizing. Mm. Is in. To their lineage. Let's see. It's complex due to their lineage, having to wear anything heavier than a having to wear anything heavier than a coat. You know, specifically made is mm, mm, yeah, Vedma. The vampire witnessing a paranatural event. Mm, mm, how do I want to word this? Because the idea of the Vedma are more like the mystical ones. They can sense coalescence. They pretty much their issue is that Hmm. Mm. Yep. Royal tastes, otherwise known as you gotta eat good. Let's see. Hmm. That'll be another good one. Hmm. I don't know. This we go here, which would say sucking the blood of your friends. Outside of the variable amount of trust. Mm. 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 This is a bit wonky. In Czar society, they're effectively a blood bag. They're effectively a blood bag, a step above, a glorified servant slash drink dispenser. In Union society, they are tainted. They are tainted and will probably be shot. If they do drink the blood of a companion directly, they will be sated for the rest. They'll be sated for the rest of the day, but they'll be sated for the rest of the day. Single meal after all. It's just a single meal after all. Let's see. There we are. Okay, there we go. There's the common food. Probably add I could probably add an image like right here. Have to add an image right here. You got a few images that I need to kind of hammer out. Probably add one right here. Here we go. Gunshot serenade in the Ashlands. In the ash. There's two universal facts. There's never enough. And whoever does have it won't share. Violence has been a part of the culture of the Ashlands. Violence has been a part of the culture of the Ashlands since its inception. Since it was called the Greater. Since the Flash War, the Blood War only heightened tensions between the various groups, leading to the current flashes of intense violence, flashes of bloodshed, that occurs when the drifters get into a fight, which they will. The goal isn't to kill all the enemies or break them. It's to survive. We'll do how do I want to? We want to do Mirp. Hello, Mirp. Murrow. Hello, Murrow. How do I want to break this down? We're gonna have to do combat map. Go to the combat map, which we then immediately follow up with initiative, and let's see, combat mat, initiative, and reactions. Initiative in order, so we do initiative in order. We then go down to actions and combats, which then we do then we do the end of the round. Very simple combat. This is not exactly supposed to be a very complicated combat. Okay. The combat map. When a fight breaks out, both sides will position themselves on an abstract map represented by a handful of zones, written by a few represented by various areas. Each area, because I keep using these terms, I've already used the term zone, so I mean zone synonym. Give a good word. Section, belt, territory, tract, stretch, expanse. Guess we use area. And various areas. Each area is a part of the battlefield that the combatants can enter. God, how do I want to do? Like, there is a part of me that just wants to abstract battles, like no map or anything. Like, it's just entirely theater of the. We do range. I want to do. Thought I had the idea already set in my head, but now. See, here's the thing. I thought I had the idea set in my head, but now I look. I'm now kind of like writing it down. I'm like, this isn't quite what I'm thinking of, because the entire idea of combat is that combat should be resolved quickly. Combat is not a very long exchange. That's kind of the idea behind it. This is not like a dedicated part of the game. It's a few skill checks, and it's any long battle is something you don't want to be in. You don't want to be in a long fight. I mean, I guess what I could do is we could make it like traveling. See, if we make it like traveling, what we can do is we can break it down into pretty much into 4 phases. Because the idea is that most people are going to be using guns. Okay, here's what we do. We break it down into 4 phases. Each of the 4 phases, something else is going to happen. The main thing what you want to do is you want to get away. You want to get away from the fight. You want to survive the fight. You don't want to be in a fight. Fighting sucks. Fighting is not fun for anybody involved. They don't want to be in the fight either. That's kind of the big thing. You gotta ask yourself, why do people open up on each other? It's because someone called a bluff. It's saying like, oh, well, we think we can down them faster than they can down us. People don't want to be in prolonged gunfights. Nobody wants to be in a prolonged gunfight. Nobody really has any armor. Nobody, like, a single shot's probably gonna bring your ass down. Which is kind of how the combat is built around, which is your stability is not anytime you take damage, quote unquote. That's not, you're not taking damage necessarily. It's the likelihood of you taking a bullet is increasing because your stability is rapidly decreasing. Your stability is going down little by little until one shot hits home, and then suddenly you're not feeling too hot. So you need to represent that. Originally it was like zones, but zones don't seem right now. Break it down into phases, make it distance based. Maybe we abstract the zones by distance. We do something like that, like very far in Melee. You can actively get from one zone to another. One of the big things what you need to do is... Yeah, okay. Okay. Remember, traveling, except it's not as important. Just a variety of skill checks trying to get the fuck out of Dub. Getting the fuck out of Dodge. That's the plan. Okay, here's ah, God, what do we More phases. When combat begins, it will start at the beginning of it'll begin at the start of the combat is broken down. Combat is broken down into 4 phases. Broken down into 4 phases. Initiative, action, reaction. Initiative, action, reaction, and panic. And panic. And is broken down into 4 phases: initiative, action, reaction, and panic. The initiative phase. The initiative phase has all combatants roll their It's gonna get really pissed because I think I accidentally shifted something over I shouldn't have. We're going to be making a I know is going to roll their sense. Is going to roll their sense characteristic. Sense plus avos. No, they're avos plus sense. They're avos plus sense. Initiative has all combatants roll their avos plus sense. And avos plus sense. Initiative phase has all the combatants. No, let's see, actually determine their acting. Let's see. The initiative phase, all combatants determine their acting order. Their acting order. All attacking combatants. All combatants. The first one to act. Actually, no. Depending on the circumstances, the attackers or defenders will act first. Depending on the attackers will act first normally unless they are attacking a fortified position. Unless they are attacking a fortified position or let's see, attacking a fortified position or at a distinct disadvantage. You may open fire first, but we have the high ground. I have a distinct advantage. I can shoot down at you. Attackers will act first. Attackers will act first normally unless they are attacking a fortified position. Defenders. When it is a side's turn, they will choose one of their members to act. They'll choose one of their members to act. Moving on to the action phase. During the action phase, each of the combatants each side will go back and forth, choosing a member of their side to act. Choosing the member of their side to act, performing a variety of actions, allowing them to gain the advantage or directly attack their enemies. Attack their enemies, or gain advantage, attack their enemies, or retreat. Once all combatants have acted, then the combat moves into the momentum phase. During the momentum phase, all the damage applied that round is, let's see, all of the damage applied that round is all of the damage done that round. All of the damage done in the previous phase is applied. Let's see, all the damage done in the previous phase is applied, as well as any movement actions to different locations. Movement actions is applied. They will then both sides will check if they have momentum. Let's see, both sides will check if they have momentum. If they have the momentum, then finally moving on to the panic phase. Whichever side does not have the momentum will take 1d panic. We'll take 1d pain die. We'll take 1d pain die. Take 1d pain die for every actually. Finally, move on to the panic phase. During the panic phase, both sides will take the current round number. We'll take the current amount of We'll both take the current time of the battle in pain die. Both sides will take the let's see. We'll take the cycle of battle of the fight. Cycle of fight continues, except the side with the momentum. With the momentum, will act first during initiative phase. So there we go. Phases. Mm. Let's take the current time rounds. Mm. Each of the phases is called is a part of the round. Is a part of the round. Let's each of the phases is part of the round, which is the collection of every combatant's actions, panic, moves, damage, etc. Moves, damage, and panic and moves. Any ability, talent, or skill that lasts until quote the end of the round. It is ended at the end of the panic phase. Each round of combat has the mm. 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 And combat rate increases by 1 at the end of the phase, starting at 1. Starting at 1. So first round, second round, third round, fourth round. Pretty much it's like by the time you hit like third round, you should be leaving. Everyone's going to start panicking and leaving because you're going to be taking 4D you're going to be taking 4D panic die and you're going to start freaking the fuck out and nobody wants to be there. Let's go. Nobody wants to be in a fight. That's kind of the thing that I'm trying to like base this off of more than anything, which is nobody wants to be in a Yep, everyone feels pain every round. The idea is every round, the likelihood of you getting shot is increasing. So you have to make a decision every single round. Do we continue pushing our luck? We outnumber them, we have the momentum, we're able to kind of push forward, and we can deal with the threat very easily. Or do we just leave? Like, we hurt them enough. Fuck this. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to get shot. I don't want to die. It's like nobody ever really wants to die, if that makes sense. Like, it's kind of a chaotic thing of, is it not a notepad game without phases? Phases are easy. Everybody likes phases. Actually starting at 1. Come here. Oh, actually, fuck. That reminds me. Commands can be from a melee. Actually, we'll do touch, close, far, very far. Uh, yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Let's Hmm. Hmm. May make an action when they are selected when they are selected. Command may make an action when they are selected. Uh, may make. You know, may make two action. May make two actions when they are. Combat may make two actions when they are selected. When they are select. May make two actions when they are selected. Two actions. Combat may make two actions when they are select. When let's see. If. Hmm. Forgo you. Let's see. If they do not want to perform an action, they can forgo use. They can one or both of their actions. If they not wish to perform an action, they can forgo use action. Kind of like you don't have to use all your actions. You should, but you don't have to. Now what? I already wrote something. Let me see if I can't just. There's Ferrari's weapon in their possession, attempting jerk. They'll make a combat judge. They'll make a combat judgment against a target with a target number equal to distance equal to their distance, and if they are behind cover. So then we just put a table here, table here, breather the drifter. Nope. Not really gonna have that. Recovery takes time to recover from an neck they're currently facing. Reloading a gun, unjamming a rifle, pulling a... Actually, Corporal, I don't know if you're here. I got a question for you. Do you want this player facing or not? Pretty much like what I can do here is I can either go down the idea that every actor is acting, if that makes sense. So it's kind of the idea like the GM will actually take out their dice and be like, okay, I'm gonna roll, and like they hit you, they don't hit you. Or we can make it so that the players, and pretty much when I am making an attack or something against you against you, Corporal, it's with if I'm the GM and you're trying to defend, it's you'd be making a defend check versus me making an attack against you. That makes sense. Player facing usually is the players are the one doing the defending, they're the one doing the attacking, rather than like the enemy making a to-hit roll. That makes sense. Because technically we do both work. But both work, that's the idea. You enjoy rolling? I can understand that gleefully. I like that. I like it. Okay, cool. Makes my life a little bit easier going forward. Defend, vagabond. Drifter increases the TM. Increases the target number to defend themselves by 1. My 1. Increases the target number to defend them. To hit them. Increase the TN to hit them. Them by 1. Use equipment. The vagabond uses the drifter. Drifter uses a piece of equipment they have on them, resolving this effect. Hoover. They may either move up one. They may either move one range band. They may either move one range band in either direction, or make the. They may move one range band in either direct. They may move one range band in either direction. Toward a dedicated goal. So it's kind of like not the idea like you're moving closer to anybody or you're moving away from somebody. It's more along the idea like you're just in the same area. You're not like trying to get closer or farther away from anyone. You're just trying to get to a place more than anything. That's kind of repositions thing. A little bit abstract, but it works. No. Yeah, I would use underlining, but underlining's a bit wonky. It's because it cuts into Y's. So actually, no, we do 12. Mm. 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 Um. Mm. What's the optimal range? Actually, optimal range. Optimal range. Far. Hmm. Uh. Hmm. You want to be in cover, you want to be outside their optimal range, but inside their optimal range. But then you have things like being hit by a melee weapon just doesn't mean if they're moving and you're moving. So it's kind of like the idea of like if they're trying to get the fuck out of dodge or like they're trying to like reposition themselves, like okay, it's gonna be harder to hit them, even if you're in melee, because the idea is not necessarily because everything happens during the momentum phase. The idea is like you're trying to like ambush them. You've rushed up on them while they're kind of trying to run you. They're trying to like push past you. It's kind of an awkward exchange of people just trying to kill one another. So attack, recovery, reposition other, judgment. Determine if they succeed or not. That's really it. Like that is the extent of combat. It's just a combat judgment. It's very punchy. That's what I want it to be. I want it to be very punchy. I want it there in and out without any compromises. Actions. Hmm. Both actions can be both actions can be the same. Both actions can be the. All right, easy enough to understand there. Yep, that's really it. We slap an image right there, and we are Gucci. That does bring me to momentum phase. Now we start cooking with gas. Momentum. Momentum phase. Now that all of the actions getting outside. I'm like, what the fuck is that? All the actions have been resolved. Now that all have been declared. Now do their effects take place. Their effects take place. Their effects take place. First, all of the damage is applied to those struck. Then the movement, then any movement is resolved next. Pretty much what the idea here is, if you're making a run for it, you can just get popped and you just fall over where you are. It's like, oh, sorry, like you're just not. Sorry. Oops, whoopsie doopsie. And any movement is resolved next. And then any damage taken is applied directly to the drifter. Actually, I should say the combatants. Combatant stability is directly to the combatant stability first. Let's see, it's applied directly to the combatant stability. Stability first. If stability is reduced to 0, if stability is reduced to 0, the combatant drifters are considered. Drifters are considered exposed. Drifters are considered exposed and easier to hit and kill, while unimportant unnamed characters, unnamed characters are downed, not fully killed, but out of the fight. Not killed, but out of the fight, and bleeding out. When taking stability, this no matter, actually I should say, no matter how much damage the drifter takes during this time. Let's see, no matter how much damage the drifter takes during this time, they cannot dip below their stability. They cannot dip below zero stability as long as they have some stability. As long as they have at least one. If they have zero stability and take damage, it is instead converted into a scar equal to the damage. Instead, it is converted to a scar equal to the damage. The scar is now it is instead converted into a scar equal to the damage. actually the drifter defines what the drifter actually. The narrator will actually the drifter will determine what the scar is, but the narrator will dictate. Actually, the drifter will determine the scar, namely what kind of injury they have sustained. Any further scars can either be added onto this scar, aggravating it, or converted into a new scar, or made into a new scar. Let's see. Serious injuries they have suffered. They will convert any scars they currently possess into the feral instinct trauma. They convert any injury scar they currently possess into the feral instinct trauma instead. Should there, as a note, if feral instinct would cause the drifter to exceed their anger, to exceed their anchors, they will frenzy. Oh, easy enough to understand. Let's see. Drifter will determine scar, enabling what injury they have sustained. Any further scars will be added onto the scar, aggravating it or making it a new scar. If a drifter exceeds their current anchor amount, they instead will die. Die painfully. They will instead die painfully. However, if all parties survive the battle, survive the conflict, survive the fight. If all parties survive this phase, they will survive this part of the phase. They will now determine momentum. Momentum is given to the side with who is a weighted value determining who has the most. Most amount of resources and ability to continue the fight. If losing momentum has the group losing momentum has the group seize the initiative immediately the next round. A lot of stuff happens in momentum phase, but there is also not a lot at the same time. It's mostly like, is anyone dead? No. Okay, let's determine momentum real fast. Now, if I'm lucky, I think I already have something. Do I have that? Can I put it? Yeah, there we go. But it's a little bit different from here. So little bit different. Combat event. Group has more active combatants. Group has injured. Group has injured members. Group has lost members. Yeah. Has more active combatants. Who has injured member? Has more active group has more active members. As injured members. Hey, we've lost people. People are down. People are dead on the ground. Very simply, hey, we if we can't run away like hell, we're like, if it's kind of like if it comes to the point where it's like, yeah, we literally can't run, it's like, yeah, you're gonna feel a little bit more motivated to fight. It's like, yeah, you're fucked any way you look at it. It's I'm in danger. Yeah, there we go. Wrecked, we pit row. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, by virtues of being the main character, you have an advantage in this section. Mostly because most of the time you're going to be outnumbered. one wants to die. That no one wants to die. And being in a gunfight tiring at the best of times. Is tiring at the best of times. It also represents shots becoming more precise, bloodlust rising, and everything else pointing toward disaster. When a panic cannot give a scar if stability is already zero. Ignore the panic panic. There is no time to think anyway. Stability is already zero. Ignore panic. During this phase, one side may opt to flee. They give up the position, and let's say one side may opt to flee. They give up the position and make a clear indication that they are fleeing. The other side. This is a blind choice. This is a blind choice. Both the drifters and narrator will choose what their side will do independently and reveal it once. This could lead to both sides standing ground, one retreating, or both retreating, not willing to dedicate more effort to the fight. Not willing to dedicate more fight. Yes, I do. I think that would be not maybe the best idea in the world, but an idea, which is the idea of you can route, but it's a little bit more like choice of being like, we need to get the hell out of here. Where if you've put if they know you know if you have the momentum or not. That's kind of the big thing. And the enemy knows you have momentum or not. If they have momentum, maybe the best option is just to run away, is just to haul ass out of there, just get out of Dodge. That's completely valid. But if you have momentum and they don't have momentum, they're a little bit messed up. Do they run? Do you run? It's kind of that. It's a little bit of a tense situation where it's like, if you run and we stand our ground, we can pursue now. But if we both stand our ground, we're both going to start shooting at each other some more, and we're going to more risk for everybody, or we both run away and nobody can pursue because we're both retreating. Let's see, both retreating, not willing to dedicate more effort to the fight. If the other stands their ground, they may initiate. They may initiate chase. A chase is a, let's see. Chase is an extended judgment. Extended judgment with a complexity equal to the rough distance between the two groups and a target number between them. in a target number based on the location. Based on the location. If the drifters are fleeing, if the drifters are fleeing, they will they want to complete the extended check. Let's see, if the drifters are fleeing, they want to complete the extended check as fast as possible to avoid the enemy. If the drifters are chasing, they are attempting to beat the extended check to catch up to their quarry. Attempting to beat the extended check to catch up to their quarry. The other side, the chaser slash chasee, chased. We'll make a single check as well. We'll make a Okay, so it's time to avoid the enemy. Actually, no. I could probably fix this up a little bit. I can see what I want to do. It's pretty much because the idea would be, if you're in a really complicated area, the more you fail, the more likely you're going to like double back on somebody. Like, if it's not very complicated, it's not. The difficulty comes not necessarily in running, it's the fact that they are like right on your ass kind of thing. So it's like we got a little bit here, so we're making our way through, and failing too much means, oh fuck, we've been found out kind of thing. Because I do work that into the extended judgment mechanic, so that should be fine. So yeah, it's just kind of it's more about the context behind it. I think that's fine. Both sides standing round, one retreating, or both retreating. Fight. I'm feeling pain right now. Yeah, okay. I gotta use gentleman's room. All right, back to the grind. We get this section done, and that's probably gonna be it for tonight. I have one more section I gotta do. Let's I still have no idea why it keeps breaking the fog here. I have no clue. Yeah. Looming dread. The looming dread. So, part of me wants to make this its own heading. You know, I'm gonna make its own heading. It's gonna be heading 1. Between traveling gunfight, between gaveling gunfights, eating good food, and being in better company. Between traveling, being company, being in good company, and the occasional gunfight. There's something hanging over the drifter's everyday life. The looming dread. This isn't a particular name, just the feeling of dread, being pursued, this is the feeling of dread, being pursued by a force that wants to drag the drifters back, that wants to drag the drifters back to their old lives forcefully, if need be. The looming dread is determined at the beginning of the campaign. Beginning of the campaign. It can be just about it. It can be just about anything, but the most important quality is that it's not just a small group. This is an organization hunting the drifters down. The most common two are the czarists and the union, trying to collect the drifters for crimes, background, or even just tying loose ends. Tying loose ends. They don't need to be strictly. They don't need to be strictly official either. A rogue union general, or a mad czarist, or a desperate seneschal, a desperate czarist seneschal. Seneschal. That's a fucking Seneschal. Ugh. Always want to overpronounce the A in it. Or desperate, trying to find their lost charge. Finding the deserter or a desperate czar seneschal trying to lost charge. Regardless of the reason, they are bringing their entire force to bear to hunt down the drifters. To find the drifter. to represent this this chase across the land. The looming dread has a actually the looming dread slowly fills the looming dread meter. Actually, the narrator slowly increases the looming dread. The drifters possessed. As long every day, the looming dread increases by 1. This pool of points allow the narrator to introduce complications into the drifter's lives, as well as represent how close they are to finding them. At every actually, we can put a little bar there. We can do like a little visual representation right there. Every 10 interval, actually every 5 pieces of looming dread filled. Actually, as the looming dread fills, it will slowly become more apparent that they are being followed. It is slowly becoming more apparent that they are being followed, hunted. Every interval of 5 is actually if we want to do it 25, yeah, no, every interval of 5 represents a more overt influence of the looming dread, forcing the drifters to plan around their pursuers. But there it may seem simple enough to avoid them. Let's reach the crossroads in a few days, and nothing wrong will happen. Correct? Not quite. Every action the drifters take has an opportunity to attract attention to them. Entering it, the looming dread is just another resource to slowly tick up as the drifters are forced to wait in a union toll booth, or spend the day in the city, relaxing. People see faces. People remember who's involved. And slowly and surely, the drifters will become known. Every time the drifters perform actually, how do I want to do this? Drifters will build the looming dread by presenting themselves in important areas. So they're making themselves more known by virtue of being drifter, by being a bunch of wayward travelers already turns heads. So it's a little bit of a back and forth here. This is kind of the issue. Mr. Draco redeemed a manly co-host at the start of the stream. No, he did not. I can see it. I have a little thing over here in my activity feed, and if someone did redeem it, I would have seen it. The last one was yesterday, and Lubu subscribing. That's the last. Yeah, that's the last thing. I don't even have anything for Muso on here. So I did redeem it. Literally says redeemed. Huh. It's weird that never popped up. Yep, it never popped up on this. Not even once. I wonder. Let me check something real fast. It's something not. Yeah, it never popped up for onto my activity feed. Manage requests. I'll even go to manage requests. What? Weird. What the fuck? I see it right here. That's really funky. That's really weird. I see it. I have a little pop out thing here. I see it here. But it never popped up on my activity feed. Huh. That's weird. I wonder if it's because you did it, maybe you did it off stream? Like I wasn't streaming just right yet? Maybe that was it? Yeah, no, it never popped up for me. And to prove it, just because people are going to be like, you scammed me, lamau. To give you an idea, say hi everyone. You see right there in the corner there, that's where it should be. It's not. So, I'm not crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just the internet having a poo-poo. Yeah, just remind me next time. I guess I could put manually here, but we're not. Stream's not going to be for much longer. I wouldn't be surprised if the internet fluked. Yeah, just remind me next time, and I'll turn them on. Let's see. Between traveling, being a good company, pursued by an organization, trying to collect, bringing, driver's wise, bring the bar right there, pursuers, opportunity, forced, waiting, but already turns heads. We're going to do. A fucking Persona 3 reference in the year of our Lord 2023. Burning that dread. The narrator is encouraged to burn dread. The narrator is encouraged to burn dread. This is done by spending a small amount of it to create a variety of complications. Encounters, or outright force the drifters into action. However, Bernie drifters into action. Hmm. Hello, phone. Mm. Let's see. Meatball tater tot casserole. Example, red burnt, burnt dread, let's see, Union Patrol, Czarist Hunter, Bounty Hunter, Bounty Hunters, Mercy Scouts, Czarist Hunter, Czarist, each of when burning the dread, the narrator is placing the drifters into a situation which a bit more complicated, but also will force them to deal with the problem but will also force them to deal with the problem, as it will inevitably come to bite them if they don't. If the drifters ignore or fail to manage the presented dread, it will double and be added back to the total. So the idea here is you're throwing a little bit of dread at them to get rid of it. It's like, okay, you've dealt with the bounty hunters, you've misled the scouts, you've negotiated with the wayfinders and they don't really want to hurt you, or like you've completely bullshitted them, or maybe the Union, you just managed to scoot past the Union Patrol to the point where they don't even realize you were there, or that you've completely averted them, or you've killed them. That dread's gone now. I might say gambled dread, but I think burning dread sounds a little nicer. But now the problem is, like, oh, okay, that's one way of doing it. But if you were to let them go, for example, if you let the Wayfinders go, and they're gonna find you, they've added 8 dread to the total now. You spent 4 to get 8, and it's like, oh shit, they totally know where we are now, fuck. Then they're gonna hunt your ass down a lot more aggressively. They're being able to find you a lot more. They're going to be able to get you a lot more. And it's like, oh, that's awful in a variety of different ways. And suddenly you find yourself in a situation where it's like, fuck, how do we deal with this situation? And I'm gonna probably put a side note here, like, Burning Dread is pretty much introducing a thing to find the drifters better. You know, it could be something really minor, or it could be something pretty, pretty extreme. Fail to ignore matters of presented dread, it'll double me added back to the total. The outrunning fate. This may seem to be a hopeless. This may seem to be a hopeless cycle of finding, of running, being found, and slowly mounting up to the point, of being caught. However, there is one method to avoid this. Get the hell out of here. When the drifters hit the crossroads and move on to the next zone. They will automatically reduce their looming dread by half. Allowing them some breathing room as their pursuers struggle to pick up the trail again. The drifters are in a constant state. From a to an unstoppable, trying desperately to get far away from an unstoppable force. So yeah, that's kind of the big thing. It's you can only spend so long in a zone, and that's kind of the idea. Like you can't spend too long in an area, because the longer you do spend in an area, the longer you are going to be found. You don't want to be found because they're going to try to kill you. I should say, side note. I deliberately kept the due to the the stories presented with having different beats to them, and each group being unique. However, if the need arises, here are some fast rules. for dread. Which we're going to do something like entering a town slash city, entering a town plus city plus you dread. During spending. How do I want to? Like, no, that's not quite what I'm getting at here. A constant threat, but not the overwhelming only threat. It's like you gotta worry about eating, you gotta worry about the traveling, you gotta worry about all that. That's the most important stuff to worry about. Add an image right there. We add the bar right there. I miss when you say what happens when it hits max. That reminds. You know what? Here's what we can do. We'll do outrunning fate here. Actually, no, we do that here. We actually. If it hits 25. Mm. We'll have it. Mm. Let's see. Mm. Mm. See, we can do when dread hits 25, then the pursuers have successfully located and are on the hunt for the drifters. There's no more hiding. It's just run. It's either going to be a dead sprint to the crossroads. It's going to be a dead sprint to the crossroads. It's either going to be a dead sprint to the crossroads, or they'll need to stand and deliver. They have a full day cycle. They have a full day cycle from when their dread hits 25. When their dread hits 25 to either reduce their dread. Either reduce their dread or get to the crossroad. The crossroads. If they fail, the encounter will be with a major force of their with a major force of their enemy as they attempt to take the as they attempt to deal with the drifters directly. Depending on the pursuits. On the pursuit type, this can be a devastating gun battle, or a pursuit, or a flight across the across town, as the drifters attempt to avoid navigate out of the situation. If they successfully manage to thwart their pursuers, the dread falls to 20. Dread falls to 20 and begins to rebuild. But sacrifices must be made. Often, but sacrifices must be made to survive it. Midnight. So it's not necessarily like unlike Heirs to Heresy. Here's the thing. Unlike Heirs to Heresy, where you hit you hit max and it's kind of over. What I want to get across here is like you hit 25 and it's like, this is a big deal now. We have to deal with this now, and if we are successful, we're still not in a good place, but we have at least like stopped them for a moment. Where we can survive this now, but it's usually going to be painful. It's the kind of thing like, oh, well, we get past it, but we have to abandon our car, which is a really big issue. It's like, yeah, we have to abandon our fucking car. Yeah, I do prefer that to just, sorry, game's done. It makes sense in Heir to Heresy, where that's a fairly the way that it's presented is like, yeah, you're going down with that. Like, you're going to go down with the fight, but it's kind of over. Like, you're fucked. This one is like, they're on your ass. They're going to find you. They're going to hurt you. You need to do something to get rid of it. And normally, what I should do is add a, add that link. But it's kind of like one of those things, like, you can have those moments, such as the time in the dacha. That'd be episode 2. Yeah, episode 2. That's would be, they hit 25 dread there. Because they didn't do anything. They sat there like fucking gremlins. And because they sat there like gremlins for a few days, everybody showed up and it became a big old fight and nobody won. But they escaped, they hit the crossroads, and they were constantly on the cycle out. But they lost a lot of things. Car got beat up, they lost a lot of supplies. It was generally a, hey, instead of living in this really nice house, we're living in a car. But yeah, hopefully that'll work. What I'll do is I'm gonna call it here for today anyway. Game closed due to dreads. Oh no. I'm gonna call it here for today. Burn that dread. Find this, put it here, put it there, delete the table. We have the image right there. I'll probably put another side note about, like, here's some things to do. Probably put an image right here. Make the bar, which shouldn't be too difficult. It's literally just going to be a bar. A couple other little things, but yeah, we're making decent progress on this. In perfect ideal circumstances. Wednesday. No, it's a Friday. We do a notepad must die, and we just power through a lot of this. This is kind of like the big thing right here. We just power through everything. Notepad must die. The likely case, depending on if equipment gets a little bit fucky wucky, if I get real delayed with equipment and it just isn't working, what I'll do is we'll do a Sunday stream to wrap everything else up, but we're getting it done by Sunday. That's the promise. Once it's done, I'm probably gonna take a week off. There'll be some stream, but it's mostly gonna be like video, or it'll be video or table derby. That's all it's gonna be. But thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad Anon. I'm gonna make dinner now because I haven't had any dinner. I'm very hungry, and it's 11, and my throat is dead. I am dying. Please send help. So thank you. Goodbye. I gotta do a fucking video on flabbergasted.